Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you for tuning in. So today the book that I'm going to be reviewing is a thriller, so it's my favorite genre, and it's called The Golden Couple by Greer, Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. So what is the story about? We follow Matthew and Marissa, and they are the golden couple. So they're the type of couple that if you see them on your Instagram explore page, you will think that they are goals because they look like they have it all together. So they are good looking, they are wealthy, they have a cute kid, they have a nice house in a nice neighborhood, the kid goes to the best schools, like they really look like they have a perfect life. Of course, there's a lot more to them than meets the eye, and that's what we're going to discover in the book because at the beginning of the book, we learn that Marissa actually had an affair. And so she decides to seek the help of a therapist who is known for her very unorthodox methods. So the therapist's name is Avery, and they seek her. Marissa seeks her so she could confess to her husband and then see what she can do to help them. So on the very first session, this is where Marissa confesses, and of course her husband is not happy about it. But surprisingly, right away he agrees to start going on these sessions with the therapist to see how they can save their marriage. So as we read the book, we learn more about the therapist and her methods that are very unorthodox. We learn more about Marissa and Matthew, both individually and just their relationship in general. And we find out that there's a lot more going on than just like a couple who is trying to solve their marital issues. So that's pretty much what the book is about without giving you too many details. So I have to say before I even give you my thoughts about this book is that I'm actually a big fan of the authors. So it's two women who wrote this book together, and they have written, I believe, 3 books so far, and I recommend all of them because I really, really, really like them. So I'll be sure to add them to the description just in case you guys are curious and want to read those books too. But for this book in particular, I liked it a lot, but I have to say that I didn't love it. And the only reason why I didn't love it is because I thought that the book took a little too long to pick up for my liking. So I'm already like a very impatient reader, and so slow burns are usually not necessarily my cup of tea all the time. But this time around, I felt like it was a bit of an effort to read like the first part. So the book has like 3 parts, and the first part was just a bit long for me to get into. But with that said, I'm glad that I stayed patient because by the time it picks up, it's really good. There's a lot of twists and turns. And by the time you finish this book, you actually might have some trust issues. At least I did. So what I thought that the authors mastered really well for this book, as they do for a lot of the other books that I read so far, if I remember correctly, is just the characters. So the characters were really, really well written, especially the 2 main ones, I guess. So the book is written from the perspective of Avery, the therapist, and Marissa, the wife. What I liked about Avery and the complexity of her character is that I didn't really know what to make of her completely. So for one, even before I talk about her like from like a moral standpoint, I like that, you know, although she's a very smart character, she's very intelligent, she is always like a couple steps ahead and has a very good understanding of the human psyche and the human experience overall. I like that there's a lot of holes that we can see here in her armor, and it makes it that she's not invincible. And that way, when you read along, you never know where she's going to slip or where she's going to like fall flat to her face. And I like that because then it made her perspective to be more of a page turner. Like she's the character who I felt like kept me to the edge of my seat a bit more. And I also like that from a moral standpoint, I didn't know what to make of her either because on one end, like to put you more in context, she is a therapist who actually lost her license because of her methods that were not approved. So on one end, you know, so she continues to see her clients, but like not officially as a therapist. I guess she's a bit more like of a consultant. And so on one end, you can wonder like maybe she's just a really good person who really wanted to help, and her methods are maybe ahead of her time, and maybe she was vilified for it, although she had good intentions. So you could argue that maybe again she's a good person who wanted to help some people, who also has methods of her own that are not approved, but that also could be working for some people because when you learn a bit more about her clients that she's had before, her methods actually help them, right? But on the flip side, you could argue that she's someone who has some sort of God complex, that she doesn't see the bad consequences that her methods has on other people, because you can kind of see how her methods could be bad for some of her clients. So again, you can look at it one way or another, and the book has examples of how it could be she was good and how she was bad. So I guess it could be left to interpretation. Me personally, I still liked Avery because I really enjoy characters who are sort of ambiguous, because I think that most of us are not completely good or not completely bad, except for me, though I'm an angel, but like the rest of y'all, none of you guys are good and none of you guys are bad. But with that said, on the flip side, what I liked about Marissa the wife is that she has like this image. I do feel that Marissa was the representation of what life can be like when you spend so much time taking care of the surface and not what's underneath. So, you know, she has a very great image. She also has, I think there's mentioned a few times of like social media and how she portrays herself on like social media and Instagram. But yeah, Marissa is what I think life can be like when you have the perfect appearance, but you don't look at what's underneath. And so, you know, she had an affair, but her affair didn't come out of nowhere. I think it was because of years of her being super unhappy in her union, and that's what led her to go seek somebody else. So obviously I don't condone that and I don't approve of that, but I do think that had she looked into her marriage more deeply, she probably would not have had an affair. And another thing that Marissa, I think, represents well as you read the book is that some people have such a good image in society, and I don't know how conscious or subconsciously they know. I don't know if they truly know what they project, but they have a good way of like making people forget that they have a dark side. So when you read Marissa's perspective, at some point you forget that she's the one who actually had an affair on the side, and you realize that she also has a dark side too, and she's a lot more clever than she lets on as well. So I did like that part about Marissa too. So those two characters were a lot of fun to read. The book has a side plot that can kind of give a little bit of like conspiracy theory vibes. Me personally, I didn't mind it because I don't need a book to be completely realistic, especially like a thriller. But I can see how this could make some people's eyes roll a little bit. But me personally, I didn't really mind that because, you know, it's just a book, it's a story, it's not supposed to be 100% real. So the book again has a lot of twists and turns, and the main theme I think of the book is really that things are not as they seem. No matter, all of characters have different layers to themselves, and you don't really know them as much as you think that you do. So I think that's pretty much the main theme throughout the book that I think was very well executed. I have to say that me personally, I don't do audiobooks a lot, but I heard some people say that the audio book version was really good. So if you're open to that, that could be a suggestion for you as well. So again, me personally, I thought it was a good book. I didn't think that it was great, only because I think that the plot just took a bit too long to pick up for my liking. But again, overall, still a good book. If you like a slow burn, this definitely is going to be a book for you. If you don't like a slow burn, this might be a little bit of an effort for you, and I can see how this could be a little bit annoying. But if you were patient like me, then you might have a story that you actually enjoyed. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this review. If you don't forget to like and share and subscribe if you like my content, and I will see you for my next video.